Hello, all you 49er faithful. Welcome to the Gold Mine Report, where we talk about all things 49ers all the time. My name is Jeff Malinoff, and today we're looking at preseason week 2 between the 49ers and the Chargers from either LA or San Diego or London or wherever they're going to end up in the next couple of years. So, let's get right into it. Let's just jump into it. So, Garoppolo started the game, and, he didn't do that well. Let's just face facts. That was a pretty sloppy performance by him. He was missing some guys in the wide open. He was missing just guys up high. He was throwing a lot of high passes for sure. Even Dan Fouts, the color commentator, was like, yeah, he's throwing it pretty high. And then there was that one interception he threw. Was it his fault? I would say there's two faults. Ayuk's fault because it was in his hands, and the rule is for a receiver, if it hits your hands, you gotta catch the ball. But also, Garoppolo threw it very high, like a little too high. That interception was just two guys I don't know if they were on target. It was just, Garoppolo really missed him too. But Ayuk is a guy with the longest arms in the world, like not the largest, but the longest. And his reach is absurd, so he could have caught that ball absolutely. But the fact that he missed it is kind of concerning. I mean, not concerning, but Garoppolo was the main concern. Like, throwing that interception, it's like, that's worrisome. That's pretty worrisome for sure. And that was his last throw of the game. That was it. And then Trey Lance came into the mix, and he also threw an interception. I mean, Lance was doing the same exact thing Garoppolo was doing. Missing guys up high. He was also missing guys from the back. Like, there were some slant routes that he had, and the ball was here, and the guy couldn't make the play. So that was obviously a concern. Trey Lance was very inaccurate this game to start, of course. And, I usually, with guys like that who first start, kind of get rattled and they don't get back into a groove. But Trey Lance, to his credit, got into a groove after that. Got into a groove where, he did pretty well. After that, him and Sherfield were back at it. He threw a great pass, little floater there to Sherfield at the sidelines. And, I mean, how Sherfield is playing and how Trey Lance and him are kind of, there's a chemistry there already. You could put Sherfield at the 3 slot on the team for sure. I think it's going to be a fight between him. There's probably 3 guys on the wide receiver core that are going to have the fight for the 3rd slot, for the slot receiver position. It's going to be either Sanu, Sherfield, or Jalen Hurd, depending on his health. But I think Hurd's going to play not as often, but once he gets into the mix, I think if he does well again like he did the preseason 2 years ago, he will be in that starting lineup sooner rather than later. Sanu is probably going to take it for the first. Him and Sherfield, I feel like, are going to split snaps just because of Sanu's veteran style of play and how he knows Shanahan's offense back in his Atlanta days. And then Sherfield has been playing extremely well. Those 2 passes alone put him up on the top there for that 3 slot. So I think we'll see Sherfield a lot more often in that 3 slot because of his chemistry with Trey Lance. I think that's going to put him over the top. But also the fact that, again, after that play went through, after Lance and Sherfield made that connection, Lance made it less than a 2-minute drive and put him in the end zone. Threw a tight right in the right ear to Sanu for the touchdown and got him into a 2-point game with LA going into halftime. And then he's in for the 3rd quarter. They keep him in, which I do like. I wouldn't think it was good either. All right, you already played the first half, don't play the second half. He played for not the remainder of the 3rd quarter, but a good amount of snaps for the 3rd quarter, to a point where he did throw another touchdown pass to Travis Benjamin, a great little slant route, making up for his missed opportunities in the first half. Great slant route right here, and Travis Benjamin makes a move into the end zone, gives Trey Lance another 2-touchdown game for himself. So that's 2 back-to-back games with at least a touchdown and 100 yards for Trey Lance in less than a game played, which I think is a great start. Obviously, it is shown that he's not ready yet, obviously. I think this game proves more than any other either camps or the last preseason game that Trey Lance needs more time. There's a reason they drafted him, because he needed to marinate more. They really liked what he had as raw talent, but you gotta soak that in whatever sauces you like when you cook your steak and see how it comes out. You gotta let it go in the fridge for a day or two, and then you gotta put it on the grill after that. And he's not even in the fridge right now. He's probably still getting marinated. They're probably still putting the sauces, whatever anyone's preference of what you marinate with your steak is. They're doing that with Trey Lance right now, and he's not even put in the fridge yet, not put cellophane over that yet. So we'll wait until that's probably going to be probably halfway through the season. He honestly goes into the fridge, or when the season starts, he probably will go into the fridge. But right now, they're just testing the waters with him, and I know how bad Garoppolo played. I know, I get it. Hold your horses. Stop. Give me a minute. Give him. He's still number one. He's still QB1 right now. It's ridiculous to think otherwise. He did play sloppy, granted, but it's preseason. Preseason, not season, it's preseason. He could throw 45 interceptions and I'll be like, he's still QB1. Because again, it's not week 1 yet. We got one more preseason game against the Raiders to decide. Cross fingers, there's no fights happening at that game because again, preseason guys, no fights, please. This time, no fights. That's the only thing I'm worried about when it comes to the Raiders and Niners. It's not when we play on the field, it's outside the field, but we won't get into that. Hopefully, there's probably like Las Vegas bets, let's be honest. Probably Las Vegas bets on how many fights will break out between the Raiders and Niner fans at this game. So, just fingers crossed for that, absolutely. But, no, fingers crossed that it won't happen. Not fingers crossed that it will, but fingers crossed that it won't happen. I mean, come on, guys. Preseason game, unnecessary fights. But fights have already happened. Except there's an LA Rams fan that just starts swinging at other LA Rams fans. So, apparently, fights just happen in stands in NFL games for no reason whatsoever. For sports games in general, but this is another topic. But, regardless of that, Garoppolo's guy. Garoppolo's number one. He's got to be the guy for week 1. It's happening. But also, during this week, during the preseason game, we saw Clinton Dixon there. He was doing all right. There was a pretty bad pass interference call on BW Webb to get them to the Chargers to get that first touchdown of the game. He wasn't even, near the play. It wasn't the guy he was covering where he blocked him wasn't even, part of the play. The guy just happened to be around where the ball was being thrown. The guy's target was somebody else. But the fact is, BW Webb that was a terrible call by the officials, in my opinion. But keeping on with the defense, there was that touchdown from Stilts to Palmer was terrible for 49ers defense. So what happened was he went out to his right, and then there was about 4 or 5 Niners all in a pile going after him, maybe 3. And there was two safety covers in the back. Palmer's right here. And one of them I couldn't even tell what the number was at the time. But he went down and started rushing Stilts or covering the guy in front of him. But there was already 2-3 guys right here. 2 were rushing, one's back. And Lenore is still coming to help. But they leave Palmer wide open. No one's there. And then there's the touchdown. And then Dan Fouts says, oh, that's the catch. Not even close, buddy. First of all, in the catch, Montana was about another 10, 15 yards back. He was more near the 20, 25-yard line where he threw that prayer to Dwight Clark. And it was just a bad call by Dan Fouts. I don't know why I hated it so much, but the fact that Dan Fouts called that just even remotely made it related to the catch is asinine. Just complete asinine. But what are you going to do? That's his call, if you will. But that was bad defense there. There was a safety by Jordan Willis, which was cool, even though he was just suspended for the first 6 games because of PED. So I don't know. Why is he playing in the preseason if he's suspended for the first 6 games? I mean, shouldn't he not play in the preseason games because he's going to be suspended? But whatever. Then Armstead got a sack. 1 sack compared to his 3.5 sacks the year before. So he almost caught up with his sack total in 1 game. So it shows Armstead needs Bosa and Ford in there, and other of those, and Key as well, who's been playing pretty solid himself from the Raiders, need to play well in order for Armstead to be well, which that kind of shows he shouldn't have been. He should have been the one traded. I would have taken a second round pick for the guy instead of just giving up a first, taking a first for Buckner. But that's just me, of course. So defense looks solid. Not the first beginning of the game, but they got back into it. That safety was big. They've been rushing the quarterback, so that was good to see. Defensive line looked pretty solid. The depth there is pretty solid. We didn't see Fred Warner or George Kittle or anything like that. We shouldn't. So that's a one of the thing. You have to add that to the defense there. But the bottom line, going back to the quarterbacks, is this: Garoppolo's going to play unless he's hurt. That's the bottom line. Unless he does throw 45 picks in a game, I don't see him getting benched for Trey Lance. And of course, Shanahan says at the end of the game he hasn't made a decision on who QB1 is. He's made a decision already. We already know it's QB1, Garoppolo. People need to understand this. Garoppolo or Trey Lance, when you're drafted as a quarterback, putting them in the fire right away is stupid. Is a ridiculous idea. When you draft somebody, you're looking at 3 to 4 years from now them getting better. You're not looking at them to be Randy Moss right away. There's very rare instances where someone comes along and just changes the face of the game. Randy Moss was one of those guys. But looking at a quarterback perspective, not even Patrick Mahomes started off right away. Peyton Manning started his career 3-13 in his first year. Tom Brady didn't start. Well, of course, he was a 6th round pick. But granted, your first round picks are made to get some starter, like train with the starters, marinate in that offense, get used to the NFL style of play, and 2 to 3 to 4 years become what they're meant to be, or at least get started on that and get even better later on in their career. So to say that Trey Lance should start now is not a good idea. It's a terrible idea. You'll destroy the kid, and there goes 2 first-round picks for the future just because you have pushed him too far, pushed him too quickly. So patience is key. Stop making this a QB competition. It's not. There is no QB competition whatsoever, and we have to accept that. Because we know we can win with Garoppolo. We already know this. It's done. It's easy. Done. We already know we can win with him. He just needs to stay off the injury report in order for us to win, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But again, let's go back to the defensive side. Let's look at the rookies on the defensive side of the ball. I like Hufanga a lot. Hufanga looks awesome. He made some great plays, and I think he could be a real star. Again, he's not going to be a star right away. He's got to get some starting time, obviously. At a position player like that on the defensive side, you're going to get more minutes than you will at the quarterback position. But looking at him defensively, he can be a star. He has the looks of a star. He has the ability of a star. Hufanga might be the guy that's going to be looked at, besides Trey Lance, of this draft class to go, that was the best pick in the draft. Because I still think Trey Lance can be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, no question about it. But we need time. He needs time. Patience is the key. Whew. But NFL fans have no patience. That's the problem. There's 2 problems with NFL fans. They have no patience, and they are extremely forgiving. Sports fans in general are like that. Because let's say Tom Brady joined the Patriots again, they would welcome with open arms. Same thing with Antonio Brown. He left the Steelers in a very gross way. He goes back to the Steelers, they would be like, yeah, oh, we missed you, buddy. Like that kind of thing. No matter what you say or do to a certain team, if you join that team again and you're a top caliber player, you're welcome with open arms. But you got to be good. And being good needs to happen right away. That's the impatience part. So you have to be very good to right away for a fan to like you. And if you leave and come back, the fan will still like you. So that's the curse of being a sports fan. You're forgiving and you're impatient. Understandably so. But I digress. So looking at this team, what would I grade them for this preseason week 2 victory against the Chargers? I'm not going to lie, C+. That plus is the ending of the game as well. Well, we can look at it. If you have to look at first half, I'm giving them like a D+. Second half, I'll give them a B-. So, C+. That's how we're going to go there. Second half was better than the first, obviously. First half, but the second half they got better. They got momentum going, and they just played better, defensively and offensively. So, they got the W, preseason game, so doesn't matter. But overall, a C+ overall performance from everyone together for the 49ers in preseason week 2. Next time we'll talk about the week 3, and we'll finally talk about week 1 NFL. Oh, it's going to be sweet to have that back. But until then, my name is Jeff Malinoff, and stay faithful, y'all.